Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining Black Economics today. We have a special guest from all the way up in Glasgow, Hamilton, in fact. And yes, I've travelled all the way up to Scotland to meet this man because he's doing some amazing things. I met him in 2016. His name is Ajmal Musthaq. And he took over his parents' restaurant a number of years ago, and he's built an empire of Indian food which has been delivered to many thousands of people around the Hamilton West and Glasgow area. And he's also built a pizza establishment which is now being franchised and will be all over the country very soon. In fact, Domino's had better watch out because Boss Pizza, that's the name of his pizza business, is coming your way. So welcome, Ajmal. Thank you for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
Please tell us about what you've managed to achieve with your takeaway establishment.
Oh, well, my takeaway establishment I took over in 2009. It was your standard mom and pop shop. I was a management consultant in London, had a very successful job, as did my wife. My parents were struggling and they were saying, oh yeah, we're really struggling, we want to give up the business. It was just a very small 30-seater restaurant.
How long did they have it for?
All their life. I mean, my parents have been in the restaurant business their entire life. It's just been a sizable, smallish business, just enough to support like our family. It wasn't like massive or anything. As I said, it was just a 30-seater restaurant. Mum and Dad worked very hard to get their 4 children educated. So hats off to them for that. They did incredibly well. So they were getting to the retirement age, and that was an opportunity for me because I was passionate about food. I was brought up in this industry. I thought, you know what, if I leave my very well-paid job and my wife, we take a massive pay cut, like huge, like 90%, 95% wage
really?
cut. We could end up taking over this restaurant and growing our own brand. So we took over the restaurant, we closed it down, we changed the brand, the style of food. And then from there, we managed to grow it to being the biggest takeaway operation in Britain. So the food, we decided to sell the food as the same food that we eat in the house. The 10 dishes that Mum makes in the house, the standard Indian food, the proper Indian food. We thought if we're selling food, we're going to sell proper Indian food. And we're not going to go for any sort of other variation of it that you get in the mass market.
Oh, wow. So what did your parents think when you first started making all the changes?
Well, my parents retired. And I think they were quite excited and cautious and worried as well. And they were worried the fact that they've spent all this effort trying to get their children to be educated and to go to university and then secure a job. I secured a job with Accenture, worked there for 10 years. That's the largest consultancy in the world. And then you do all that and then you take a major step down to run a little restaurant in a town outside Glasgow. They were worried. They were very, very worried. Although they never said no, I could just tell by their body language and their sort of non-verbal cues that this is a bad idea.
Really? Yeah. Wow. But being at Accenture, you must have learned quite a lot of really good business skills, which no doubt you've put into action in this business.
My success today can be traced back to my time at Accenture.
Wow.
In Accenture, it was all about professionalism, systems, training, processes, operational excellence. So despite if you're delivering, it didn't matter if you're delivering an IT project or a plate of food. Behind the deliverable, the fundamentals are exactly the same.
That's a good advert for Accenture.
Okay, it might be.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah, no, Accenture's a great company, 700,000 employees. They do some fantastic work.
Okay, you should have a word with them. You could do some joint ventures there.
Joint venture with Accenture.
They promote what you're doing, and you promote what they're doing.
I don't think I'm big enough to be even on Accenture's radar at the moment. I think you have to be like a FTSE 100 company for them to even consider.
You know what? The way you're heading,
Yeah.
you might be headed there too.
Okay, you never know. You never know.
Okay. So you said that you chose 10 dishes.
Yeah.
So you really focused the menu.
Yeah. I think for any business, the less you deliver and deliver to a higher quality, the more it resonates with your audience, your customers. And for me, I had a choice. Do I want to cater okay to a mass market, or do I want to cater very, very well to a niche set of people that really enjoy proper Indian food? And that was a decision I made. I thought, I'm going to only focus on the 10 best dishes, and if people adapt to it and take to it, great. If they don't, I'll sit in the business with my family and we'll enjoy the food. So the business was never set out to make money. It was never a venture, we need to make money from this. This venture was driven by love and a passion for food.
Wow.
And the byproduct of that was a very successful business.
That's amazing. So you took it over in 2009.
Yeah.
It is now 2022. Do you still have 10 items on the menu?
Still the same 10 items on the menu.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
nothing's, why change a winning formula?
Wow. So you haven't been tempted to add, another 2 or 3 items?
No. Well, we did add one special dish for a limited period, and I think that's still on the menu. So it's 11. So the product range has increased to 11, but fundamentally, it's still a very limited offering.
It sounds to me that you're quite disciplined.
I think in business you have to be disciplined. It's very easy to get distracted by noise over here, or looking over the fence and seeing what the competition is doing. Well, let's do that as well. But I think I'm very fortunate and blessed. As I said, this business wasn't set up to make money. This business was a result of love and passion for proper Indian food, and that's all we're focusing on. A limited product range delivered very, very well.
Okay, so your parents were running a restaurant. When you took it over, you started doing takeaways and deliveries as well?
No, my parents, it was a small restaurant takeaway and delivery operation.
Oh,
It was
I see.
it was a very sort of localised, small, six employees, including my mum and dad, so that was like four other employees. 4 or 5 people, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you decided to expand on the takeaway and delivery area.
So I realised on the very first day that my strategy is completely wrong, and I changed my mind on the very first day.
Really?
On the very first weekend of the business. So it's a Saturday night. Every seat filled out 3.5 times. I was very busy. And then I did the cash up at the end of the night, and I thought, is that it? Is that all the money that we've made, despite the restaurant being very, very busy? And then I realised that very first Saturday night that we are possibly missing the mark. And then I looked over at the delivery arm. I looked over at the delivery section, and the deliveries would be made up and put in the hot cupboard. And if the driver came in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, he would take them. And the delivery times ranged anywhere between 1 hour and 1.5 hours. And that's where I realised, for the tables, you are limited by your physical capacity. For takeaway, there is no upper limit. And on that Saturday night, I decided I am going to go all out into the home delivery market. And from there, we developed the 29-minute delivery guarantee. We delivered very high quality food at great price, very fast. And that helped us grow to being the biggest takeaway in Britain then.
29 minutes delivery time.
Cooked from fresh.
So what happens if you don't make 29
Well, then
minutes?
we would offer the customers a discount for their next order. But we ran the 29-minute... we delivered a service that delivered food in under half an hour. We ran that for almost 6 months. before any mention of the 29-minute delivery guarantee. Then when we brought out the delivery guarantee, by that time we were well rehearsed, so we knew we could deliver against it.
Fantastic.
So if you're making a promise in business, keep it quiet and make sure that you've already been practicing your craft.
Practice first.
And then when you actually make the promise, you can deliver against it. And that is good for your reputation and credibility.
Wow. And it's interesting that it was that first weekend you made the decision.
Yeah.
Most people would continue maybe for months, maybe even years, sort of battling through.
Yeah.
But you made that decision quickly and decisively.
I've got video footage when I was still in London of drafting up the plans. The plan was to have Mustaqs as a chain of restaurants across the UK, and UK's first chain of Indian restaurants. So we done all the work, but you're right, we just changed the plan that very first weekend, changed the entire strategy.
Okay, so how far afield do you deliver?
Well, it's only to the local 3-mile area.
Okay.
And again, there's a business lesson in that. Is it better to deliver a great service to this many people, or is it better to deliver an okay service to that many people? You know, and so that's why we decided to deliver to only a 3-mile radius, and not step even 1 centimetre beyond that, because we could deliver a very, very good service to that concentrated population, rather than us trying to take on too much. Yeah, we could just deliver over there and over there and over there. What that would mean is the core audience, the core town, would get a much slower delivery service.
But what about people who want to come and collect?
Yeah, they can come. Yeah,
So people can come from afar?
yeah, I mean, people from 20, 30 miles, people from Greenock, Edinburgh have come to
Really?
collect. Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your food is so good, huh?
Yeah, it's a unique brand of Indian food. It's like proper Indian food. It's the food we eat at home.
Okay.
Unapologetic.
All right. So have you thought of opening another branch of Mushtaq's
No.
delivery centre somewhere else?
No. So the Mustaqs, the skill and quality control required to replicate this is too much. It's very, very difficult. You
Really?
need expert chefs, you need the freshest of ingredients being delivered, you need such quality control. There's too many things that can just go wrong on any night. So that's why we make sure, I'm a bit of a control freak, so there's only ever going to be one Mustaqs.
Really?
But then during lockdown, we did start Boss Pizza, and pizza is generally much simpler and much easier to cook and replicate. So that's why the focus now is on Boss Pizza. So that's,
Okay. So tell me, why did you go into pizza?
So we have been working with dough for the last 47 years, my family. You know, we're making breads, naan breads. So the principle of kneading dough, getting the air right, getting it to fluff up to the right sort of volume, getting the right texture. We've been working in that for years, making naan bread. So that's not uncommon to us. So pizza isn't a million miles away from baking naan bread. The base is quite similar. So we decided pizza is a mass market. There is huge demand, and I don't think I've ever met anyone who doesn't like pizza.
Okay.
Whereas if you say Indian food, you often get a lot of people saying, oh no, I don't like Indian food, it's too spicy for me. If you take a group of friends, there's always one person that doesn't like spicy food, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to go down the pizza route, because the market is there, and I think the market is there for freshly made pizza. Like Papa John's is refrigerated dough, Pizza Hut is frozen dough, Domino's is refrigerated dough as well. It gets delivered twice a week, whereas we are making the dough fresh. And I know that for a fact that our pizzas just taste, you know, totally different to the mass market, what's on the mass market.
Well, you have an interesting name, Boss Pizza. So it's as if you're saying, yeah, we're the boss, we're the best.
I think that's actually when we decided to call it, name this pizza brand Boss Pizza, I googled like leader, like what is, And so I actually put into my phone, right, we want to be the biggest and the best and the sort of the most. So the word leader came into my head, so I googled like leader, and then went to thesaurus, and the word boss came up, and then I thought boss pizza.
Yeah.
And my colleague and I would just looked at each other, and we just knew it was boss pizza. That's a cool name. So we went with that.
Well done. So is that being delivered in a 3-mile radius as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the principle of food delivery is set your area and just deliver it very, very well. Deliver consistently. So if your customers get an order from you, they should know roughly it arrives within 25 minutes to 40 minutes. That's generally the window. What you don't want to do is you don't want to deliver once and it's delivered in 20 minutes, and then the next time it's delivered in an hour, and the time after that is delivered in an hour and a half. So that's why we keep the delivery radius or delivery zone quite limited, so we can deliver a great service with the great product very, very quickly.
Okay, that's very interesting. So the plan is to grow Boss Pizza outside of Hamilton, is that right?
Yeah, so we started Boss Pizza 2 years ago. We've opened up another branch in Lark Hall, which is another town close by here. We've just taken on the keys for another shop. So we'll be opening up another one very shortly as well. While that's going on, we've developed the franchise model, the franchise support centre, and now we're selling franchises all over the UK.
Wow.
So for anyone who's not heard of Boss Pizza, within a few years, you'll see Boss Pizzas popping up all over the place, all over the UK.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh, your parents must be, extremely happy.
I think that
I'm proud of you.
I think my parents are extremely happy and proud, but they also tell me to slow down because I'm always in a state of stress.
Oh.
And that goes hand in hand with running a growing business. It's not easy. And I think entrepreneurship in general, people think it's great, it's sexy. Everyone's doing it now, aren't they? It's sexy, everyone's doing it. You make loads of money, you live in a nice house, you drive nice cars, but there's a cost. And it's a big cost. It's like walking around with a weight on your shoulders and mind constantly. And not many people can understand that. Only other entrepreneurs who are in the same boat would understand that.
Exactly. I mean, if you consider half of the shops on the high street, the owners are suffering, either because they're not earning enough, or there's problems with staff, or problems with stock.
You're absolutely right. It's a big headache. I reckon most small businesses in the high street, these retail shops, they're scraping a living.
Yeah.
Because I know this because of the amount of tax that you have to pay, the VAT, the tax, the corporation tax, national insurance, PAYE, climate change. There's like 1,000 taxes that you need to pay. And then on top of that, you've got to then deal with the competition. You've got to keep the prices reasonable so the customers actually come to your business. So by the time you factor all of that in, the profit margins are very thin. Most retail businesses make, so let me rephrase that. If a retail business makes 5 to 10% net profit after everything that's been paid off, that is exceptional.
Really?
Most businesses, you're probably talking about 2, 3, 4% net profit margins.
Wow.
This is something I'm very passionate about. A number of my TikTok videos, I go out onto the street and ask people, right, how much profit is there in this pizza, or how much profit does a business make? And you'd be amazed. People think that businesses just make so much money. Then you've got the policymakers, the local government, the central government, the politicians. If they're thinking that, that's a dangerous thing, because then they're thinking they're taxing the businesses far too heavily. And it's no wonder when you go down the high street, the shops seem to change hands and close down too often.
That's right. And there are so many high streets nowadays where half the shops are empty.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to take them on at all, even for free.
Yeah. So look at, I visit London, and I bet this is the same in many areas in London. So I stayed in Bethnal Green, which is just beside Liverpool Street Station. And every time I go down to Bethnal Green, I go down there about once a year. Still got my flat there. You'll not believe how many of the shops actually close down and reopen as something else. And I can tell a shop whether it's going to last the course or whether it's going to be closed within a year. So I think I would say to the wider public, I think it's important to understand that most businesses, it's a struggle. It's not all sort of money, and great lifestyle. Far from it. Far from it.
And I think this is probably why your parents were focused on ensuring all their children had a good education so that they could become professionals. So
Exactly.
they don't have the stress of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So I can understand how your dad felt when you gave up your big job and decided you're going to come out and run a restaurant. And was thought, oh no, all that money we spent on our son, his education, and look, he's coming back.
Yeah. I think I've had the good fortune of working in the corporate environment for 10 years. I've also had the good fortune of running my own business for just over that amount of time. And I can say to you this, Dawn, running a business is so much more difficult than having a good job or having a stressful job. Been there, done that. I could go back into a corporate lifestyle and that I would find that really easy compared to running a business.
I hear you.
In business, there is no off button. You are on 24/7. The stresses never stop.